country in a small country in South America. So I started with Spanish was what I first started out with, and that's where I became a teacher there. That's where I got my teaching certification in Quito, and I lived there for a year, and I got this bug. I thought that I could sort of move all over the world and just teach English, do 1 year here and 1 year there, and just travel the world doing that. And I thought that would be really cool. And then turns out I came here to Indonesia and met my wife like 4 months later, and that whole plan changed. And that always sounds bad when I say it, but it's not. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I wouldn't change it for the world. So I've been teaching English for a long time, and I've known Dennis almost as long as I've been here in Bogor. We met at EF Taman Yasmin way back in 2013, and we've remained friends and professional colleagues ever since. Geez, Dennis, I don't know if I have 20 minutes worth of sharing. I'd rather just sort of like have a conversation with the people in the room. And if you have any questions about my life, or if you have any questions about how you can learn English, or some tips and tricks, then I can do my best to field that stuff for you. So there you go.
Awesome. So now, if you have any questions from this room or the online room, you may ask to quiz, because this is more like sharing. How do you keep your English or something like that? Please, Mr. G, questions from you.
Okay, good evening. Afternoon, yeah.
Afternoon.
Yes, to Mr. Chris, I want to ask you about, how is it? When I learn about English, I learn from literally music or movies or some kind of quote, something like that. But I want to know how we learn accent, English accent, so we can what's this? We can be heard like American or English person as we speak. So we when I speak, I can be heard like Indonesian, but I want to speak accent like American or maybe little English or British.
Okay, sure, Mr. G. Thank you for the question. It's a good question. I think what you're asking about is how do you sound like a natural speaker of English? There are many different accents, obviously, out there. I'm originally from America. I think it's the best accent, but that's just bias. But what you really want is you want clear intonation is what you're looking for. And like anything with language, practice is the best thing that you can do. What you're mentioning is that you're getting English from movies and music and shows and things like that. And what that is those are your receptive skills. So you're hearing that English, but then you're not producing it the same way. Obviously, more practice with production, with speaking, is going to help you in that area, and especially with enunciation. Enunciation is the act of clearly pronouncing each sound in a word. And when you speak English like really naturally, there's something called elision, which is when you sort of lose the sound in between two words. But to start out, it would be a good idea to practice enunciating clearly. So every time you see a word in English, let's take the word enunciation, for example. Anybody want to count how many syllables are in enunciation? 5 syllables. Enunciation. 5 syllables there. So the act of enunciation is making sure that each sound in each syllable is heard clearly. So basically, you have to slow down. You have to slow your speaking down. You have to make sure that your mouth is moving the right way. And this is one of the most difficult things for learning a new language, is that, especially with a language like Indonesian, the mouth moves differently than it does in English. So you have to sort of train your tongue to touch the top of your mouth or touch the back of your teeth, or use your tongue to touch the bottom of your lip or the top of your lip. Long story short, practice makes perfect. But you could also emulate. Emulate is also a good thing. So you could find yourself like a recording of somebody speaking, with a clear accent, and you could just sort of emulate that. You could just kind of copy it and mimic it. Yeah, that's the best answer I've got for you, Mr. G. I hope it's okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chris. I will learn more.
Sure. Just keep practicing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, now we have another question from Mr. Acep. Go ahead, Mr. Acep. You still silent, I'm sorry.
All right, sorry. Good afternoon, Mr. Dennis and Mr. Chris. Am I audible? Yeah, good. All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. And it's been a great session today. First, it's a second anniversary of our community speaking practice group, and the second one we have a great guest speaker, Mr. Chris England. So, just one question for you, Mr. Chris. Talking about teaching certification. So, would you like to give some experiences or story about the assessment? So how did you get the assessment to get teaching certificate? And is that different with kind of IELTS test or TOEFL test? And what's the difference? And what's kind of qualifications required to get that certificate? Thank you.
Sorry, I heard the first half of that where you said, can you share experiences about assessment? But I missed the other part. Can you tell me what the rest of that question was?
Yes, it was about the I mean, yes, basically the assessment. Basically the assessment. What's the difference with the IELTS test or something like that? Because the certificate that you receive is English teaching certificate. So, is there any international standard for English teaching? And what's the background? I mean, for those who would like to get that certificate, what background required to get it?
Okay, I got it. So we need to differentiate between certificates that allow you to teach English and certificates that just say that you can speak English, right? So if you're a student of English and you're getting like an IELTS or a TOEFL certificate, you are somebody who is trying to get into like a university or trying to get a scholarship, right? And the only difference between those assessments is basically what you need. So if you're applying for a university in Singapore and they require a TOEFL, that's the one that you need. There's not really a fundamental difference between TOEFL and IELTS in terms of them testing your fluency in English, your ability to do the grammar correctly, to know the vocabulary, and maybe even some more nuances like idioms and things like that. As a teacher of English, I earned my TESOL certificate, which is teaching English to speakers of other languages. That is an internationally recognized certificate, but if you ask any ESL teacher out there, like what the number one certificate to attain is probably a CELTA or a Delta. And I think that those come from institutions that are recognized around the world, but are based in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. But again, because there are so many different certificates that are recognized on an international level, the difference that you would get out of it is either you're applying for a job somewhere that requires you to have a specific certificate, or just whatever's in your budget, right? So at the time that I earned my certificate, I wasn't looking for a job anywhere. I just found this company that said, "Hey, we'll certify you as an English teacher, and you can live down here, and we'll put you to work." And I thought, okay, that's great. If I backtrack 10 years and I say that, I want to go teach English in this country for this school specifically, then I would look up their qualifications and see that I might need a CELTA or a Delta or something like that. So really it has to do with, your budget or possibly the place that you're applying to. Hope that answers your question. If you have any other questions about it, please feel free to ask.
All right, thank you, Chris. So just follow-up questions, just quick one. So what certificate did you get then? Delta one or others?
The certificate that I earned is called a TESOL, TESOL, and it stands for Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. But I earned that in 2010. So that was my very beginning of my teaching career. Since then, I now have a bachelor's degree in English Language Learner Studies, and I'm currently undertaking my master's degree in educational leadership.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. That's very complete answer. Thank you, Chris, for sharing.
Awesome. So now, is there any question from the room? If you have any question, anybody wants to ask, just raise your hand. So I know it's weird, but because you're doing the online and offline, right?
It's not weird.
Anybody wants to ask anything? Use my wife's phone. Anyone? Mr. Fatul, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chris.
Yes, sir.
Let me introduce myself. My name is
Fatul.
Dr. Rahman.
Okay.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Actually, I want to know more about you. How long you've been here in Indonesia, and what is your favorite food and favorite place in here? Can you tell me? Tell us. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Fatur. I've been in Indonesia since 2012. So I've been here for just over 10 years now. Long time already. Sudah orang Indonesia ya. In Bogor the whole time too. I moved to Bogor first and foremost. I've been here ever since. I live in Central City, but I mean that's Bogor basically, So Bogor's been home for 11 years, and that's how me and Dennis met. When I first moved here, I worked at EF Taman Yasmin, and that was the first year that they opened up the school. And then 6 months, a year after they opened up, Dennis came in and started working there. So him and I have been colleagues for a long time now. Your question was, what do I like to do? What's my favorite food? What was, say it again for me?
Yeah, tell me.
Everything. Okay. All right. So, I like Central. I live there for a reason, because you get that sort of greenness out there, Bogor, for me, unfortunately, has become sort of like mini Jakarta in the last few years. It's very, very busy out there now. But still, Bogor is a beautiful place. You have the botanical gardens. Obviously, there's a lot of development with like culinary and stuff like that out here. So that's always fun. If we have, a free weekend or something, we do enjoy going to some of the waterfalls that are around here. I don't know if you're familiar, but there's one out in Central called Lewi Hejau. Lewi Hejau, yeah, which is really nice, beautiful place. Kind of an easy hike, but like a really nice sort of like natural pool at the end. So we like that. We have 2 children, my wife and I, and they are 6 and 7 years old. And so we actually end up spending most of our time on the weekends in the mall. The new mall that's built out there, Aeon Central, they have a place out there called Rockstar Gym.
Oh, yeah.
And so the kids go to Rockstar. So they're doing like gymnastics and cheerleading. So like we're full-time parents. You know, there's no more free time for mom and dad. If there is, it's like go see a movie, something quick, something that only takes our time away from the kids for an hour. Occasionally, if we have the time and the money, we'll travel. We like Bali a lot. We're actually going there on Tuesday. We have plans to go up there on Tuesday. We do want to travel to Flores. In the past, we've been to places like Sumatra. We've done Kalianda, which is just south of Lampung. And we've done Lombok and the Gillies and stuff like that. So, you know, we try and do that kind of travel and things. And often we go down to like Pelabuhan Ratu as well, which is really nice down there. So we like the beach, we like travel. In terms of sort of like food, Indonesian food, yeah, I love it. Love Indonesian food.
What is your
Favorite.
Favorite Indonesian food? It's hard to tell because they're all so good. I'll tell you what, in the last couple of weeks, we have gone to a couple of Indonesian restaurants, and of course, Idul Adha was yesterday, right? So we've ate a lot of like opor rendang, oh gosh, yes, lontong sayur, satay. We've had satay, nasi liwet, excellent. That's fantastic. Like nasi kuning, that kind of stuff, or like tongseng kambing. Yeah, that's really good. So there's not a lot of Indonesian food that I don't like, but I don't like ikan teri, salty fish and stuff. Stay away from that. And jengkol and pete cannot. Yeah, jengkol, pete, durian cannot. But pretty much everything else, you know, yeah, spicy, savory, salty, sweet, love it all. Really good. Yeah. I don't think I'd be here this long if I didn't like the food. So yeah, I like it all. I like it all.
Is your wife Indonesian?
She is. Dia bahasa Sunda. Dia orang Sunda dia.
Can you speak
Yeah.
Sundanese?
No. No. Still working on Indonesian. Still working on my Indonesian. Yeah, bahasa Sunda I know like 3 things, you know. Hatur nuhun, sami sami. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe, you know. That's pretty much it. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking. For sure. I saw a hand in the Zoom. Okay.
Mr. Chris,
Sure.
oh, the microphone, I'm sorry.
Oh, and active again.
Okay, I want to ask Chris, what do you think Indonesian people like about speaking English? What skill they what maybe pronunciation, maybe reading, writing. What do you think they bet for?
There's no one answer to that. There's no generalization, you know. Some people pick up language differently than other people. It depends on how much you practice. It depends on what you need the language for. But I can tell you that the Indonesian accent seems to be a difficult one to get over when you're switching to English. It's rare that I hear an Indonesian person who speaks really good English, but like speaks like a native speaker. So it's clearly there's a big difference between the movements of the mouth and the sounds that produce between Bahasa and English. So I would say that that's one of the biggest challenges is pronunciation. Not necessarily pronunciation of the words, but just pronunciation in terms of the accent, not sort of protruding into the way that you speak. But no, there's no one general answer that says they you know they could all use more writing or they could all use more reading. Depends on what you need it for, and it depends on how much you practice it.
But
Yeah.
the majority is the pronunciation.
I would say that that's probably one of the sticking points when you talk about Indonesians who are learning how to speak English. That tends to be a big challenge. Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Chris.
absolutely, my pleasure.
Okay, before I give to Miss Irene, I'm gonna give first Ning. Please, Miss Ning.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Hi, Mr. Chris and Mr. Dennis.
Hi.
Congratulations for Mr. Dennis for the second anniversary.
Yes, congratulations, Mr. Dennis.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chris. You said that you have been here in Indonesia for 10 years. Can you speak Indonesia?
Iya bisa, Bu.
Oh, what's your opinion? Is it difficult to learn Indonesian language?
Yes. For me, very difficult. Mostly because I don't practice it enough. That's why it's still so hard for me. But there is another challenge, which is Bahasa Indonesia compared to English is a very simple language. What I mean is that there are not very many grammar rules. There are not very many sort of syntax rules that are necessary in English. And so what happens a lot is that I know what I want to say in English, and then I'm trying to translate into Bahasa, but I often don't need to say as much as I need to say, right? So, for example, in English, I'll say, I want to go to the store to buy some milk. But in Bahasa, you simply need to say, mau ke toko beli susu, right? Not, aku mau ke toko karena aku mau beli susu, right? That's just too much. And so that's a challenge for me because most of my Bahasa, most of what I don't say like on a daily basis, which is already sort of memorized, I'm still translating in my head. And as I translate, I realize I don't need to say this word, I don't need to say this word, I don't need to say this word, and it becomes very confusing. So that's a challenge for me, is looking for the complexity that I have in my language in Bahasa Indonesia, where it doesn't exist or is not necessary.
Yeah, the problem is same, yeah. Like me, as I learn English is difficult because yeah, like you, I translate first or like that. So you must to think in Indonesian, like I must to think in English.
Yeah, that's a difficult thing. It's a very difficult thing, especially if you don't practice it enough. You're still in translation mode, right? Like you become fluent in English, you become fluent in any language when you can begin thinking in that language. When you can recognize the meaning in the language itself without having to translate. So as long as I've been in Bogor, every time I hear Bahasa or speak Bahasa, I'm still having to translate it into English, maybe 75% of the time. I mean, there's daily Bahasa Indonesia that I know what it means and I don't have to translate. But a lot of it I still have to translate, or if I want to speak Bahasa, I have to think about what the English is and then think about what the Bahasa similarity is and then try and produce that.
So you have for teaching in English, or sometimes you speak Indonesian too, because you teaching in Indonesian school. Is it correct?
I teach in a national plus school, which has an international curriculum. So I always teach in English, no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Only speak a little bit of Bahasa students just to like have fun in the classroom, you know.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It's the same thing that you did. The same thing where they're like, "Mr. Chris, you speak Bahasa?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bisa," and they're and they laugh, you know, and giggles. That's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Ning. Last question from Miss Iren, probably, please.
Should I?
Yes, please.
Okay. Is it okay now?
You can turn the mic.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I have asked many questions to you earlier, so I hope you don't mind if I ask more questions.
Not at all.
In Indonesia, as you know, many people learn English start from junior high school up to university year. So a total year would be 10 years.
Sure.
Yeah, more or less 10
Yeah.
years. So what do you think is the biggest problem for the Indonesian to actually master the language? 10 years is not a short time. Yeah, it's a very long
Yeah.
time.
So a similar answer to what I actually gave you earlier, which is that language is a skill. Proficiency, the level of proficiency that you can attain depends on how often you practice it. Indonesia, there's not a whole lot of English that's in use over here, right? Other than in school, right? You learn English in school, but then you go home and what's the language of the home? Bahasa. What's the language in your community? Bahasa, right? What's the language in your job? Bahasa. So there has to be an understood need for the capacity of the language, right? Like most students over here are learning English as a part of their curriculum because they know, or the parents know, or the school knows that they're going to need English to get into university. And you generally need English anyway to get into an Indonesian university. Like if you go to University of Indonesia, you might need a TEFL or an IELTS score. You know what I mean? Even though the language of your curriculum is still going to be Bahasa Indonesia. So they're learning it. They're learning it as a subject, like they do math or science or anything. There's not an understood need that, I'm learning English because one day I'm going to need to speak it in order to communicate with people and, make a difference in the world and make an impact on society. So there's only a handful of students that already have the plan laid out for them, at least in my experience, where I'm working with students who are like, I know that I'm going to move to this country or this country or this country after I'm done with high school or after I'm done with university for the purpose of employment, or continued education, where English is the main language spoken. But over here, it seems that, they're just sort of like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but there's not really a defined need for the language other than we learn English as a part of our curriculum. So you get the same sentiment with, yeah, how many of us are sitting around the table thinking like, boy, when did I last use the Pythagorean theorem? Right? Which we all learned in math class, but when's the last time you applied it? So over here, like English, I think is the same thing, which is I have to learn English, but when the heck am I going to use it? That makes sense? Yeah. So I think if you know that you're going to use English in order to be successful in your life in some capacity, then you're going to learn the language better. You're going to take hold of it. It's going to matter to you. Or if your household speaks English, if your circle of friends speaks English, if the majority of your instruction in school is in English, then it makes a difference. Right? So like at my school, every class is taught in English except for religion and PPKN, right? PPKN is like civics or something, right? Yeah, so that's it. Those are the only two that are taught in Bahasa. And Bahasa Indonesia, of course. Right. But everything else is English. So that's the majority language of the school. But in a national school where they're running just the Indonesian curriculum, the only class that they're speaking English in is English. Right.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we still have some people in this room. Does anybody else want to ask? Miss Emma, Mr. Afdi, Mr. Toik already, Mr. Kaifa, Miss Elvira, any question? Not yet, are you sure? Okay, use the phone, please. Or you can use Miss Iren. Sure.
We can share.
You may share.
Yeah. Actually, I want ask your opinion, your point of view about what difference your sekolah Bogor Raya with public school, because if I'm not mistaken, sekolah Bogor Raya is English daily English,
It's National Plus schools.
but is international.
It's not international. We
Oh, it's
run
not. Oh.
because we run a mixture of international curriculum with national curriculum.
Oh,
Like the students at our school can still take the
exam
Ujian
national.
right?
Oh, okay.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
They can still take that. So they're not, it's not technically a full international school.
Oh, but outside the English literature or English subject, they can speak English with you or with another friend, another teacher.
Almost everybody in the school speaks English.
Oh, but the curriculum can adapt.
There are
what-
some courses that are taught in Bahasa Indonesia,
Mm.
Agama and PPKN
Oh,
are
it's
taught in Bahasa completely, 100%. Everything else is taught in English, and everybody in the school can speak English to some degree.
What the curriculum in Sekolah Bogor Raya use is
The
Australia.
international curriculums that we use are the IB, which is the International Baccalaureate,
From
and Cambridge.
Cambridge.
In junior high school from grade 7 until 10, we use Cambridge Checkpoint and Cambridge IGCSE.
Oh, GCSE.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. So, but yeah, they can use. Both of them can use also for exam and also follow the international
Correct.
curriculum. Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
great.
So we have most of the students will go on to Cambridge diploma and IB diploma. But we do have the option for non-diploma routes, and we have the option for just national curriculum routes.
And in the final exam, they must take like GRE or GMAT like that or no?
No,
No. Oh.
no, not in the school. It's not a requirement of our school.
Oh.
If you had to take a GMAT, it's a requirement of like the university that you would enter.
Oh, but that's not a minimum requirement to from Sekolah Bogor Raya. You must take IELTS like minimum what score?
No.
No.
No, because it depends on what track the student is taking, right? Like we offer IELTS at the school. We offer IELTS practice and we offer IELTS testing. We do it once a year, but it's voluntary for the students. Meaning, like if you need it, we have it,
Oh, it's not.
but it's not required.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you for
my
your
pleasure.
explanation.
Kaifa, do you have any question? Okay. Miss Emma?
Hi.
Okay. Miss Fira, can
Yeah,
you Miss Emma?
Hi.
Oh, okay. Okay. Surrounding with it, probably my question has been asked before, but you have living here for 10 years, right? Then how do you communicate to your society if you don't master in Indonesian?
How do I communicate what?
With people? Because most of the people are not fluent in English and probably they don't know anything with English.
Yeah. So after 10 years, the Bahasa that I speak is very daily, right? Sehari-sehari gitu, you know? So like if I go to a restaurant, no problem. Go to Alphamart, no problem. You know, go to, Kaki Lima, no problem, right?
Do you know how to bargain?
Yeah, but only like, yeah, a little bit. This is where the Bahasa that I know is like copied from my wife or her mother, right? So I just heard what like she said, and then I can say the same thing. But I know that bargaining is like part of the culture here, and so I do it no matter what, right? So, but I also find that I tend to get like the harga bule as well, right? So like if I go to the Pasar Bersih and I'm asking about vegetables, like my wife will sort of prep me before I go. She'll be like, I need carrots and I need corn. This is what they should be. This is the price they should be. So it's like, 30 per kilo, right? And I go in there and I say, berapa per kilo? Oh, 45. 30. And you go through that fast thing.
You know the basic price.
Yeah, exactly. So I already know what the basic price should be, but that's only because I'm prepped.
I guess you need to learn local accent. So like what is it? Bule Jawa, I guess.
Yeah.
So you can like break in.
Yeah, maybe. Or I just let my wife do the shopping. You do. I tend to stay out of the market actually, just because of that. Like I know that if we're going to the market, I'll just sit in the car and let her go do it. But on my own, I'm okay. I mean, I've obviously survived here for 10 years, so I'm okay with being able to, speak enough or just sort of like, yep, yeah, no problem, and then kind of, know when to get myself out of a situation if I am losing it or something like that. Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
so it seems that we wrap up our meeting because after this, we are going to have a bit testimonial and then we will eat the cake and take a photo. But before that, I just need everyone in this room and also in the online room telling us about the testimony. What do you think, especially for Chris? You just came here for the first time. And what do you think about our meeting? So let's start from you and from everyone else in this room before to the online one.
Sure.
Really quick, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So
First of all, massive congratulations for 2 years on the speaking group. Well done on that. That's fantastic. I'm really happy for you, Dennis. Really proud to see how far you've come with this little thing that you started a long time ago. So that's really cool. The group has been great. It's great to be offline. We've done so much online. I'm like zoomed out, for sure. So it's really great. So I appreciate you having me. Thank you for always, inviting me to be a guest speaker. I always have fun with these classes. So I'm really happy and congratulations. And I'll see you at the 3rd anniversary, hopefully.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, next, Miss Pia, probably. So everyone will give testimonial. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I will say congratulations for a speaking practice group from the 2nd anniversary. Actually, I really I really appreciate and I really enjoy this community because when the first time I joined this community, my confidence is very low. My pronunciation is very horrible, and my grammar also. For now, I'm not perfect either, but I try to more confident, and this is the good community when someone have the good ability, not mocking someone with the lower ability, but they motivate us. So it's great community, and I really enjoy this community, and hopefully this community is continue for 3rd, 5, or 10, or golden. Maybe golden anniversary. Yeah, hopefully, and have a big impact for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miss Elvira. Miss Iwan, please.
First of all, congratulations for the 2nd anniversary. It's such a privilege for me to join this community, and I feel honored to be here today because, like Miss Elvira just told us, this is the place where everybody can learn, no matter how advanced or intermediate they are. So we don't really we don't really mind about that. And this is a good place to motivate each other, and especially for a housewife like me, this community really helps for my English not to be rusty. So thank you to Mr. Dennis for the opportunity.
Please give applause. Awesome. Miss Emma, please.
Hello everyone. It feels like just yesterday when I first met Mr. Dennis. It's our first anniversary, but I thought this is just second, and I'm super happy that this community still exists. We always welcome you guys whenever you have time to learn English, because having a people that have eagerness to learn is such a magic for me myself, and I'm always happy to share anything with you guys. The new knowledge and sharing every week is such a good thing, and I hope that we can keep doing this for forever. I hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Emma. Miss Emma is one of the founder. Yeah, Emma started first before me. Please, Mr. Abdi.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I want to congratulate this community for its second anniversary. And for Chris, I've been knowing you for some time.
Long time.
Yeah, a long time ago when I was studying at EF. You were my teacher. So, and I met you in Malaysia in 2016, I think. You went to Malaysia and we met at the airplane.
We did.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, small world, huh?
Yeah. And I met you with your wife in Cibinong around 2017, and now I met you here. So the world is a small place.
We got several run-ins.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Aceh, who has posted a status so I can join in this community, and I hope this community can be sustainable. Right? And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abdi. We have Mr. Fatur. Go ahead, Mr. Fatur and son.
Yeah, Assalamualaikum Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh. Congratulations for English speaking group community. Our second anniversary for today. I hope this community will grow up and get more impact to other people. Yeah, thank you for Mr. Dennis, Mr. Chris, and the others. I feel happy to be here. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Fatur. Next, Mr. Tariq.
Okay. First, I want to I want to congratulate this group to be in the second anniversary. I still remember that I joined this group out of the blue because I just want to practice my English speaking. But yeah, I don't know where, so I just click the link from Mr. Dennis. And yeah, I hope this group become more sustained. Because I still want to practice my English. And what I find interesting from this group is this group age is very. I mean that there is a junior high school, and then grandma, and then grandpa, and a lot of people. So that's what I find good. Okay, that's for me.
Awesome, Mr. Tariq. Brother Kaifa.
Okay, so first of all, I want to congratulate Speaking Partner for its second year anniversary. And I want to say that I'm super happy to be in this community because I feel like my English starts to improve when I join this community. So, long story short, I have a project with my friends, and they all use English, and I don't even understand a single word back there. And I'm so insecure about my English, and so I joined this class, and I feel like my English is start improving from here. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone in this room. And now, let's ask everyone in the online room. So let's start from Mr. Acep, my brother, the one who actually ran for the invitation and everything from Fans Millennials. Please, Mr. Acep.
All right. Wow, wonderful event this afternoon, and I would like to congratulate for the second anniversary of our community speaking practice group. It's been a learning platform for us to learn with fun, and of course we got network as well. So I think it's good for us to keep promoting speaking practice group to everyone. So it's been a public learning community. I mean, everyone can come. So please invite every week to come in, and of course not only English. Here we got many knowledge because we got various background of speakers. So actually we learn different fields. So congratulations, Mr. Dennis, and thank you for the opportunity for me and also Fans Millennials to get involved in this community, and we will always support you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Acep. Okay, next we also have Mr. Heldy, the ones who actually run for the Instagram right now. Please, Mr. Heldy.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm sorry. I couldn't attend to the offline meeting since my mom asked me to accompany her to hometown in Medan. So right now I'm in Medan. Firstly, I want to say thank you. It's been even though I just joined for the around 6 months, but it's been being incredible journey, incredible moment. I feel like on the cloud nine. But so yeah, I couldn't give further testimony, but I hope that this committee will be lasting longer. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Heldy. Please give applause also. We have Miss Henning. Please, Miss Henning, please tell your testimony for our meeting.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dennis. Congratulations for the second anniversary speaking English practice. I'm very enjoy in this community and this group, and thank you for Mr. Dennis for inviting me to this community. I have a lot of experience, and I have a lot enjoy, and I have a lot of new friends in this community, like Miss Iren, like Miss Elita, and Miss Elvira, and etc. And yeah, this all of the community is like my friend. Is we are so far, but it's near from the heart. Okay, thank you, and congratulations, and I will support the speaking practice English. It's not depend about the age, because
it is not about the age.
Because I'm the eldest member in this community, maybe. Okay, thank you, Mr. Dennis.
Thank you, Miss Ning. Please give applause. Mr. G, Mr. Genta, please. You may tell your testimony if you don't mind, please.
Okay, first of all, congratulations for the second anniversary. For the testimony, I can relate to all of the other testimony. Like Miss Emma, this community is very magical to me. I don't know how, because I have a history. I have dyslexia. I cannot read well, so I learn by hear, by watch movie or music, or something like performance in English. And I'm very curious how to learn English. I'm very moved. I'm motivated by this group because I can learn English more. Maybe not. I'm not very good learner, but this group make me very motivated. A lot of different person, different background. They're all very fun, very what she say. Yeah, like Miss Henning, I found new friends here. I'm very envious about to go there. I cannot go there. Yeah. So thank you for the opportunity to be joining this great community. For me, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. G. I want to give next chance to Miss Haura, but Miss Haura said that she can't. She needs to go. But thank you very much, Haura. You're also doing the best. Okay, so for closing our session today, let's we take a group picture. So we have the cake there. So everyone in this room can go to Mr. Chris, next to Mr. Chris. So everyone go there and I'll be here. If you may turn the camera on, that would be great, including the cake. Me. Okay, just a moment. Kakak di situ. Foto lagi. Ulang tahun ini. Speaking practice group. Oh, I forgot to turn off my microphone. Sorry, guys. Okay. And the kids also, if the kids want to sit on the... Okay, all right, it's okay. All right.
Sing happy birthday.
No, long time.
Awesome. Say SPG, yeah? SPG. After this, we're gonna, yeah, we should speak a practice group, so. Happy second anniversary. Yeah, there you go. All right. And Mr. Torik, Mr. Afdi cannot be seen. There you go. All right. And Mr. Chris. There you go. Miss Alfira next to Mr. Tukeran aja. Ininya gitu. Okay. Sure. Let's see, take a picture. Iya, kakak situ. 3. Siapa itu anaknya Mr. Fatur sini sayang? Next to next to Apat. Okay. So we got the 3, 2, 1. SPG. G. Hang on. Let me just copy paste. Awesome. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Okay. Cool. Like that, right? Okay. 3, 2, 1. G. Awesome. All right. That's all for our meeting today, guys. There is no breakout room. Next meeting, the speaker will be Mr. Afdi, and the moderator will be decided later because it's already Maghrib. So thank you very much, everyone. See you next time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.